Saturday, was a great deal. Happy Thanksgiving week to everybody. This is a great time to be thankful for everything that we have. Kiddos don't have school this week, so my wife and girls are here, and they'll have my wife will cook a ton of food for a host of players on Thursday, and then we'll go through our normal routine. She does an unbelievable job with our football team. And last week, I thought we had some moments during practice Wednesday that were some defining stuff that our leadership group really set the tone for how this team was going to be. And I thought Thursday and Friday they prepared. Thursday was a really good, clean practice. And then Saturday they went out and played, and we were able to fight through adversity that we hadn't been able to fight through. 14-3. Offense was able to move the ball right down the field and get a field goal, make it 14-6. And the defense started a string of 3-and-outs. And then the offense put it in the end zone. We were able to make within 2. We didn't get the 2-point conversion. That was the separation at halftime. And I thought the demeanor was great, made some adjustments. And I thought the biggest series of the game was coming out and setting the tone on defense and getting a 3-and-out. Because the way this team is folded, the mental toughness that we showed, the events that happened after that 3-and-out usually is where I'm sitting up here saying our margin for error is so slim. Dylan throws an interception. Andrew Erickson makes one heck of a play and comes and strips the ball, and DJ Washington recovers it. Instead of them having the ball on the 8-yard line, we take the ball, we go 5 plays, and my knucklehead throws another interception. And instead of the defense folding and giving in and giving up a big play, they tried 2 shots right after that interception. We stopped. One was a pass interference, which I didn't think was a good call. The second one, Christian was right over the top of the route, and we got a 3-and-out. And from that point on, we had 3 drives of over 90 yards for touchdowns. We had 5 more 3-and-outs. We played really good football, complimentary football in all 3 phases. We took care of the kickoff return team didn't get any chances because they kicked it out of the end zone every time on their 3 kickoffs. The punt team did a great job. Jeremiah secured the ball. We had 1 punt return that I thought we had dialed up really great, but Jeremiah didn't want to take a chance and fair caught it. And then on our terms, they had 4 yards going into that last drive on defense in the second half. And I thought that was a telling point of the game. We were moving the ball at will on the ground, and we were not allowing them to get comfortable and throw it. And that's one of the best offenses in our league. I have all the respect in the world for Coach Tedford and what he's been able to do with that program, and to go on the road since we hadn't won there since 1994, since I was a true freshman. 29 years in Fresno against a team that was 8-2 and 2 weeks ago ranked in the top 25. And I've said it all year long how comparative I think this league is from top to bottom. And I think that's just more evidence. I saw a stat on there, and I'm going to read it because I thought it was interesting. Air Force beats San Jose State. San Jose State beats New Mexico. New Mexico beats Fresno. Fresno beats UNLV. Wyoming beats Colorado State. Colorado State beats Boise. Boise beats Utah State. Utah State beats Nevada. Nevada beats San Diego State. San Diego State beats Hawaii. Hawaii beats Air Force. It's just a circle of our league is so comparable top to bottom. Now you got 4 teams fighting for an opportunity to play in the championship with implications. I got more Twitter messages or X messages, whatever you want to call it now, from Boise State fans thanking us for giving them an opportunity to get back in that conversation. At this league, the Mountain West Conference is a great league, and you got 2 teams that are playing unbelievably well. Boise showed some fire, and then Air Force obviously has been a stellar all season long. And we get an opportunity here at Friday at 1:30, and I know Coach Anderson will be telling his football team, you're going to be able to hear a freaking mouse running around, a pin needle drop, whatever he said last time he was here. I told him I wouldn't forget that comment, and he was like, well, I wasn't wrong. So I hope we have a big crowd here on Friday afternoon. It'll be a great weather. It's a great opportunity to come see a great football team. Utah State's fighting for their 6th win. We're trying to get our 5th. I thought the way we fought through adversity, the mental toughness that our football team showed, I think was a potential huge turning point for this program. They played well on both sides of the ball, and they played complementary to each other, and they stuck together, which the leadership of that group, it really came through. And I thought we had a good practice day. Now, we didn't get back till 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. Coaches were here till a little after midnight last night trying to get today's practice ready for this morning. And we practiced this morning, which we don't typically do. And then we'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and then get ready to play on Friday. So it was a quick turnaround. We didn't get any favors by playing an 8 o'clock game on the road for a short week, but that don't matter. We're excited to go out there and play a good Utah State team. With that, I'll open it up.
Coach, why do you think it all came together? I mean, because it could be, there's a lot of new pieces. You got transfer portal guys, you got a new offensive coordinator, all these different things. Is it finally everybody's hitting on the right page? Or?
I thought the Wednesday we had some stuff in practice where our we were doing a 2-minute drill, and they were kind of going back and forth, jawing at each other, and it kind of was defining of what we've done during the season when things go bad. I mean, it's like waiting for the friggin' hammer to drop. And we had some seniors step up. Dylan did a great job. Tito, Jeremiah, those guys, and kind of realized, hey, that this isn't helping us. And I thought Thursday they came out and were as focused. It was outstanding to see. And just the mental toughness aspect of it, we've been preaching it, and it's been coach-led, and it finally took off player-led on Thursday. And Travel Day Friday, the walkthroughs were, they did it, which was awesome. And then Saturday, down 14-3 against one of the best teams in our league. And they had, the first series, we screw up a combination route on defense, and they get a 53-yard gain. They get down towards the end zone. And then the second one, we have them in second 14. The second drive, we have them in second 14. And we give up an 18-yard pass where a guy should be standing right inside of Trey Watson and shouldn't even be able to throw the ball. And so we kill ourselves with a couple of assignment mistakes early, give up 2 touchdowns. Offense had the big drive and then we get a pass interference penalty, and we're down 14-3. And that moment on, the last 2 weeks, it's just crumbled. There was none of that on the sideline. It was that both sides were like, somebody go make the next play. We drove down, we kicked the field goal. Got to stop. And then went and scored a touchdown and missed a 2-point conversion, and it was like, all right, no big deal. We'll stop them again. And the defense, once they started getting that confidence and all of them with each other, it's just the player-led version of it started to roll. And, when you get that portion, that's why I'm talking about being a program-turning moment. When you get that aspect of it, and now the young guys are seeing those guys do it, and you've got guys that are taking over those roles, and I think Devin has a huge voice in that, and Devin's been really good. They have a fire when Devin's in there. Dylan, all of them doing it, and the coaches not asking them to do it. I think it was a huge moment, and you saw the outcome of what happened Saturday when they did it.
Dylan's listed as the starter this week, but will it be just kind of a regular week in terms of, Dylan's starter and then Devin 15-20 play?
Correct. That's the plan going in, and it'll be like Saturday. Dylan got banged up with the ulnar nerve, and Devin was playing good in the fourth quarter, so we kept with him. Now, Dylan, it started to come back towards the end. He could have went in. They cleared him to go back in, but Devin was playing really well, and so we kept rolling with that, and that'll be the same philosophy going into Saturday.
Get that 5th win, and there's a possibility you can be playing in the bowl.
No, there's a bunch of there's 66 or something bowl eligible teams right now, so it looks like there's going to be some slots, and we've done decent in the football APR, so we'll see where those chips lie. We got to win Friday. It don't matter if we don't win Friday, and I think it was either Dylan or Jeremiah. Somebody had asked them that, and they said it didn't matter. We don't win Friday. It don't matter. So the focus is on today, tomorrow, and play Friday, and let those things fall where they may.
It's been an absolutely stunning turnaround this year with the offensive line in particular. Just 11 games in, and just seeing it all play out at this point. What can you just say about the job that Coach Cam has done in some ways?
Coach Blankenship's done a phenomenal job with that group. Coach Selfo's done a phenomenal job. The two of them combining for the front and the offense, I think those are two really, really good coaches that have done a great job with the personnel they have. You have to have good players, and obviously JC and CJ and East and Tito and those guys have really played consistent football. And Saturday they were challenged that we're not doing anything magical. San Jose State the week before ran GT counter over and over and had a great success with it. We don't run that play, so it wasn't like we're going to add this in the arsenal now because they did. We told them we're gonna block them man on man, and you either beat your guy and give Bill a chance, or they're going to stone us. and they took to the challenge, and I thought they played really well up front, and they have gotten better every year. And I mean, I do the radio show with Jeff Zimbieta on the opening drive and JJ Buck every morning on Mondays after games, and for the last 3 years we've talked about, well, who's going to be the quarterback this week, who's going to be the quarterback next week. We didn't talk about it last week because I didn't know on Monday that Dylan wasn't going to play, but because those guys have been able to keep him healthy, and obviously Dylan's good enough that there hasn't been any kind of controversy, we've had consistency at the quarterback position, which enables your whole offense to improve week after week like they did last week. And the 5 up front, none of those things work with all the playmakers we have if those guys aren't on the same page. So really proud of them.
Could you talk about that play where it was a quarterback draw, but he dropped it, Devin dropped it, and then he just sees.
We did. So I mean, there is a read on the. He's supposed to read the safety and see what Caleb does, and it was a point in the game where it's 3rd and 12. We were right on the verge of field goal range. I mean, it would have been a 52-yard field goal from there, which I think Luke had hit some during warmups, and I felt confident with that point. It would have stretched the game out. Devin is we call playmaker rules. Sometimes you got to give guys freedom to be able to do things in moments. And he saw on the snap, he saw the corner bail, and he dropped the snap. And when he picked it up, there was 0 running lane. But he had seen Caleb get a step on the corner when he initially dropped it, which is unbelievable. And so he grabbed it and chucked it. And Caleb was 5 yards behind the DB. And he put that ball right on the money in the corner of the end zone. That young man has got a special talent. Him and Dylan both have unbelievable touch on the football. I mean, the very first throw to Caleb Medford, the one that the DB made a good play. I mean, I told Caleb, I'm like, come on, man, jump up and go make that play. Go take it in the air. They're putting the ball where those guys can go get it. And that was a huge moment in the game to put us up 25-14. Unbelievable. And now you got 3 more years to see what that young man can do.
On that play, did you see on
follow
tape?
up on that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to follow up on that too.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, when you looked at that play on tape, did the DB hesitate when Devin dropped the snap? Did the DB hesitate, or was he with him the whole time?
No, he was with him. Caleb just beat him that quick off the line of scrimmage. I mean, Caleb was really good off the line. Outside release stemmed him, and Caleb's fast now, and he got a couple steps on him, and the DB just couldn't catch up.
I was actually going to ask about the other one. One that you were talking about where you told Caleb if he leaves his feet and goes up and gets it, the DB can't get in and play. You watch the replay, and the DB is pulling down on his arm, Coach. And I don't know, we see downfield PIs all season long. And I don't know what they're looking at when it's right in front of you, right there.
I can say this. When I was a dumb young coach at Arizona State, I made a comment after a game one time, and it cost my wife $5,000. So I'm not going to say anything on that. I'll move on from there. That was really dumb too, by the way. But go ahead. What else?
Coach, the last few weeks I've kind of asked about the locker room and how they've been able to stay together through some of the tough times, and you talked about their mental toughness, fighting through adversity. How do you feel as a coach heading into this last game, that just how they were able to come through like that?
I think the team 125, and I've used this word a lot, is resilient. I think this group, they have a passion to play for each other. They have a passion to play for the coaches. I mean, they bleed cherry and silver, and they believe in what foundation they're laying for this team to compete for championships and bowl games in this league. And they're taking a lot of pride in how they show up every day. They take a lot of pride when somebody's not living up to the expectation of calling them out on it and forcing them to live to the expectation. And I think it's evident in how hard they play, because we were 20-whatever point underdogs. Other than the 75 guys or the 115 down in that locker room and the 10 coaches, I don't think anybody thought that the Lobos had a chance to go into Fresno and win. And our kids never doubted it for a second. They didn't doubt it against Boise and UNLV, but we made mistakes in those games and weren't able to overcome them, and the ball kept rolling. They never stopped playing hard, but we weren't good enough to overcome the mistakes we made. Saturday night, we were good enough to to keep it close enough, and then kept pounding away. And I mean, I'm just proud of the resiliency of this team, and they've gotten better every week. I mean, the defense has gotten better. When we don't give up big plays, I mean, we gave up a 53-yarder that we had a chance to keep him out of the end zone when Logan Fife dove for the play. Outside of that, they didn't give up anything big. And then once they got pressure on the quarterback, all of a sudden it's amazing how much better the DBs play. I mean, all those things, and they're resilient, their attitude, and their mental toughness. That was the reason that we were able to hang on and fight and find a way to win. I really think it's a program-defining moment since I've been the head coach here, and got to build on it. I mean, you lose. I don't think we handled the success we had after Hawaii very well. We got to build on it and have success against Utah State for it to be that moment. Yes, sir.
So I always thought the last game going into the offseason does build momentum. Some people have told me I'm full of crap. How important is winning the last game going into an offseason to build momentum, to just as a field, or is it just another game?
It's humongous. Doesn't matter if you're going to a bowl game or not. The feeling of that and the work going into the offseason, I mean, my biggest one that I can remember when in 1999, my first year being a GA, and it was Brian Urlacher's senior year, we beat Air Force to win our fourth game. And I thought that built so much momentum. It changed the attitude. It changed the excitement. It built a ton of momentum, and we're able to build on that going into the next year. I think having a chance to win on a 2-game winning streak, if we play well enough to beat Utah State on Friday, you build a ton of momentum with recruits coming in. I mean, we got 17 recruits scheduled to come in on December 1st. All those things are just, you feed off of it. Your kids feed off of it. Your program feeds off of it. I mean, I get messages all the time, and people around here feed off of it. So I think it's really important.
What do you think you have to do to be successful against Utah State?
Well, I mean, Blake is, he's calling the plays on offense, and they're like basketball on grass. They use the field is 53 1/3 yards wide, and they use every inch of it. I mean, they'll line up their wide receivers right on the tick marks on the sideline. They'll put on both sides of the field. They do a great job running the football. They're playing with two quarterbacks. Milstead, the true freshman, number 10, can sling it. Lagasse has been very successful in this offense. So they use the field to their advantage in space, and they've got great athletes. And then defensively, they play really, really hard. And on special teams, they play really hard. And last year, I mean, the difference in the game was they called a fake field goal. After we had them stopped on a 3rd down, we get in a penalty that extends the drive, and then they fake a field goal, and it swung the momentum. It gave them the lead when we were up. I think it was 10-7 at that point, and gave them a 14-10 lead. And then it wasn't our day to be met when the weather changed between the 3rd and 4th quarter. I mean, we picked the wind to take the wind in the 4th quarter, and it was about 50 miles an hour. And literally during the quarter break, it flipped 180 degrees, and the wind was back in our face in the 4th quarter. The most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. And so, I mean, I thought that was a huge play. It's just how hard they play, and that's a typical Blake Anderson team.
And as far as Bill goes, he's Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week. And I was just talking to him, and I told him he thought it was all you can eat.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bill is the ability that he has in the hole, people underestimate. Because we always talk about how violent and aggressive he is running the football. And then he's able to run over the 2nd and 3rd guy. And when he squirts out, I mean, half of them, he's so quick and agile that you don't even know that he bounced off of 2 or 3 people. And then the very first touchdown, I mean, Andrew Erickson, who I mentioned a little bit earlier, Andrew Erickson is the ultimate team guy in everything we do. I mean, he might be the fastest receiver, and all the other receivers are going to get mad. He knows every single position on offense within the receivers and tight ends. So he lines up in multiple spots every game. We have to use him sometimes on the routes that get other guys open, and he never complains about it. I mean, he gets his touches, and when you saw Bill burst, I mean, he's got that turbo speed. He looked like, if you remember the Titans, the movie Remember the Titans, when Sunshine's running down the sideline and he's knocking everybody out of the way as they go. That was Andrew Erickson on that play. I mean, go back and watch it on Fox. He runs past 3 or 4 guys. He knocks the last 2 out. That enables Bill to fly into the end zone. On the interception, he ran past 3 guys to punch that ball out, and the idea that he was thinking the whole time is, give me an angle so I can punch this thing out and we'll get it back. I mean, he is the ultimate team guy. He sacrifices everything, never complains. And he's one of the best receivers in this league. like he was in 2020 in the COVID year. I mean, I am so proud of Andrew, and when I tell him, great job, I got you, coach. I got you, coach. I mean, it's just their unselfish devotion to this football team by our football team is it's awesome. Makes me proud.
Coach, as you guys were going through that sequence in the fourth quarter, all the run plays, on the TV broadcast, they circled something in the middle of the field. Maybe something was open for you guys. Obviously, you're trying to use the clock as well, but were you guys seeing something that they just couldn't stop?
And I mean, you can say words that they're going to post on their bulletin board. We challenged our guys up on early in the week. It's going to be man on man. You got to block here. We're not running fancy schemes. We're not running gap schemes. We're not pinning and pulling. You got a guy lined up in front of you. You got to block him. And if you can keep him off of Bill, if they're arm tackling, Bill's going to win that battle. And I thought our guys did a great job. And then once they started getting some momentum, I mean, Fresno obviously had a hard time stopping them. And that was go out there and be the most physical team. And on Saturday they were.
Was that something that registered with you guys when you're talking about simple blocking schemes? Was that something that registered, maybe simplified things in this game rather than maybe in weeks past?
No, I think we overcame adversity better than we have in the past. And that was telling of the mental toughness of this team, the leadership of the player-led stuff that I was talking about earlier. And that's why you have a chance at a program-defining moment, because it was player-led and player initiative in that. And they were feeding off each other the entire game. And when you get to a point where it was 25-14, a team that is unsure, oftentimes they play not to lose. That never was the mentality on the sideline. Them suckers were trying as hard as they could to finish whatever they were responsible to finish. We stayed aggressive on both offense and defense. Now, we got a little bit when they took the ball with 5 minutes to go, we played a little bit more zone, making them throw the ball in front of us because they'd already used 2 timeouts. And they weren't going to be able to – I mean, if they were going to catch it for 5 yards and 6 yards and 5 yards and that thing's running, they're going to run out of time. And I thought our guys did a great job of we missed one tackle in that sequence. Zach Morris, who played his best game by far, he got a little bit greedy, and I'm okay with it. He tried to intercept the ball. That would have ended the game. And when you do that, that's the whole aspect I'm talking. He wasn't playing not to lose. He was trying to win the game for his team. And he missed a tackle, and they got out of bounds. Smart 101 football says make that tackle and let the clock run. I am great with him trying to end the ball game. And so we didn't give up anything big. They got into a 4th and 8 situation. They had to kick a field goal. And then Demetri Johnson goes out there on the hands team. They kick it to him, and he snagged it out of the air. And then the best part of that sequence was, all right, boys, get a first down, we win. Bill was a little bit beat up, so we put the 2 tight ends in there and told Devin. And when you put that kind of trust and pressure on a true freshman to just go run inside quarterback zone where you get an extra blocker, and we're able to get 10 yards and then get in victory formation, I mean, that was the whole aspect of playing to win and not playing to not lose. And really proud of them for keeping that attitude.
Similar to last week, Utah State, I mean, they have a couple, they got a handful of really productive wide receivers. The Royals, Vaughn and Davis. Can you just talk about the challenges in stopping them?
The biggest challenge is how they use them in space. I mean, they run every route. They run wide receiver screens. They've got 2 really dynamic running backs that, they're a very balanced offense. People think that all they do is throw it all over the place. They rush for 200 yards almost every game. And, they rushed for 190 against Boise on Saturday night in a 38-10 loss or whatever the score was. They use those guys, and he's done a great job recruiting athletes. They get the athletes open in space, and then you have to, if you're going to play man coverage, you better be good at tackling. If you're going to be zone, you have to be careful at what you're going to give up. So because they move those guys so far away from the formation, you have to decide what you're going to do with your linebackers. Are you going to help out the DBs or leave the DBs isolated and try and stop the run? And he does a great job of complementing that. So those guys are very dangerous in space.
I think they're the most up-tempo offense you guys have seen this year at this point. I mean, how are you guys treating that?
If our guys know what to do and how to do it, it's not a problem. Fresno tried to go fast. So we started blitzing the quarterback with more than they could block, and they slowed down. They got into a huddle. I don't know that that's the answer against Blake, because if you blitz him, you better make plays in space. I mean, Blake sent me a text on Saturday night late. Congratulations, really good win for your program. And I said, hey, man, thanks. I appreciate it. Let's make a deal. I won't blitz and you don't throw. And we'll see what happens on Saturday. He sent me a green check mark. So the first play of the game, if he throws the ball, he's a liar. And if we send 7, then I'm a liar. So it'll make for fun.
And I know you and Blake are very good friends. I'm assuming he's dating back to your days on the staff.
Yes.
I mean, do you relish this week when you're kind of playing him? Do you enjoy this? Because somebody has to leave with a win or a loss? Or?
Blake's older than me, so it's like beating your older brother. I was a GA when Blake was a full-time assistant here, and Blake used me like a rag doll. And I take pride in it because I wanted those guys to have everything they needed to be successful as position coaches. So whatever he asked me to do, I was going to do it. And I learned a lot of football. I learned a lot of being a coach. I learned a lot of organization from Blake. And it's fun going against those guys. It's fun going against, you want to beat your older brother. I love calling him older brother. You want to beat those guys. So it'll be fun. And we played them here 2 years ago, and they got us. He got us last year with the fake field goal. So it's a great opportunity against a good football team that's trying to get their 6th win. We'll be wearing mental health awareness stickers on our helmet in honor of Kaysen. I think Ashley ordered enough for both teams because that's very special. The Kaysen Anderson Foundation, if you're struggling with mental health and you need help, please ask. If you see somebody that looks like they're struggling, please ask. Get help out there. Kaysen, he's going to help people. So that'll be on our helmets on Saturday for both teams. What else?
In terms of the 4 seniors, these are guys that have meant a lot to the program, whether they've been like Dante, who have been here a long time, or just Dylan and Tito and Jeremiah, who have been here for 1 year. Can you just talk about the impact those guys have made beyond? You talked a ton about Dylan, but even Jeremiah, who's been electric on the field, always electric in practice. Tito, the same thing, and then Dante, kind of a steady presence on defense.
I think Dante's. He might have been around for the 1994 Fresno win. He's been here around that long. It's awesome what he's fought through, and I told him at the beginning of the season, it's going to be really hard for you to break that record because as good as you are, they're not going to throw at you. And so the minimal opportunities you get, you've got to make the most out of every single one. And he's done an unbelievable job. He has made Zach Morris better because they throw at Zach every freaking time. And Zach's 4th now in the Mountain West in PBUs. 2nd now? Oh, even better. Updated. He's 2nd now in PBUs because he's gotten better as the season. The play he made on 3rd down in the 3rd quarter was such a big play on a fade route, outside fade seam. That was huge, and it's a play that Zach probably wouldn't have made in Game 3 or Game 4. He obviously didn't make it in Game 1. So, those moments, because of Dante's leadership, that's what we're going to miss in that room the most. He helps those guys. He's like a coach on the field, and he doesn't say a whole lot, but by his demeanor what his expectation is for that room. Tito, walking around, the day he stuck that feather in his cap, and he's got great energy. He's always got, he's a jokester. He focuses in and goes. Now, if we can ever eliminate Tito from getting false starts, he'll be a dang good player. And he's a really good player, but he gets false starts way too dang often, and he knows it, and it's frustrating, and he's trying to fix it. And so that's the challenge for him Saturday is don't get one. And then Jeremiah Hickson, he's a dad. His experience, his time at Alabama State and his time here, he's been so appreciative for coming here and having the opportunity to play in New Mexico and all the nice things they get and those things. When it's time to go, he dislocated his wrist against Texas A&M on a 4th down catch and didn't want to tell anybody because he didn't want to come out of the game. So he's got that attitude and that mental toughness. He was able to overcome that. He was used as a decoy on Saturday because Maurice Norris Jr. was so good, number 7, the one that I talked about all last week, and talked him up. And they did a great job of moving that guy all around. He was exhausted by the end of the game. He's that good. And Jeremiah, not for 1 second did he pout, did he say, like, why? Though to me, he did exactly what he was asked to do. And then when opportunities came to make plays, he made plays. And the punt return that we set up, that he fair caught the very last one, we had it dialed up for a big-time return. And a young man, not being selfish, didn't want to make a mistake and drop the football or fumble it on a return. And he said, fair catch it, coach, because we're good. We're good enough. The confidence on offense was we're going to go score. And so his unselfish, he's been one of the ones that the player-led has come from. He's had a great stake on this program. And those four, their voices have been huge, and they were huge this last week, and they were huge in the game on Saturday. And we want to send them out the right way. It'll be a quick celebration. Like Frank said, it'll be about 8 minutes. I mean, or maybe 3 minutes. We're starting at 10. We'll get a couple pictures, and at 7, and then we're going to play the game. Usually senior day starts about 21 minutes. So this is, I mean, it's what the ones we got. And without celebrating 100 COVID seniors, which we'll have next year, I mean, this is a great opportunity for those 4 guys to be honored.
And then health-wise, are you expecting to try and get Tavian back this week, or what's that process?
Nope. Tavian is done for the year. He will be back next year. I'm trying to think who else is that hadn't played. I mean, everybody that played Saturday we expect to play. So
Sherrod, is he?
Nah, Sherrod won't. He's not. His knee, his foot, his toe, everything is not available yet. I'm trying to think. Zach is questionable. Don't know if Zach Vigil will be back. I think that's all of them. So everybody else we expect to play.
Franco played like 30 snaps.
Yeah, that's about what. So him and Mahalis were flipping by series, or if they got tired, and that is probably perfect. That's the idea going into it this week. I thought Cy Riley and Tate Zimmerman were on kind of a very similar rotation, and Dimitri kind of worked into that rotation. Tate played both sides. Alec and Cy will stay in that rotation. And then we move Tyler to end on Saturday. He'll be back at the nose guard, and let those guys rotate. They were fresh and they played better. Now Alec, I wish Alec could play every single game. I mean, if you saw the screen pass, his boys 2 weeks ago. I mean, he made that tackle 40 yards downfield after he got knocked down. I mean, that's just the effort and the attitude that Alec plays with. But Alec is, like I said last week, he has every injury known that you can have on a football field. And then last week he had a sty in his eye. I mean, last week he looked like he got mugged out on the street somewhere when he came in. His face was all swollen up, and it took him till Saturday to get the swelling of the sty down. So he's had a bad string of things, and it hasn't affected him one bit on the field other than the amount of reps he's able to take. So it'll be the same Saturday.
And then, similar to Diarco in some ways, I just kind of forgot to ask it the last couple of weeks, but Sam Talesa, I mean, what was...
Sam had a back surgery on October 13th, and he had his follow-up last week. Sam will get the redshirt year, and he'll be with us in the spring, and Sam is moving, whatever tingling and stuff that he had that they relieved in his back. I didn't know how bad it was. I mean, they tell you all those things, but when you see a young man's personality change after they fix it and it's not bothering him, and he didn't even know it was bothering him that bad, unbelievable deal. So the discomfort and everything he had is gone. Now it's a matter of getting him strong, and his voice has, and it's hard for a guy that's not playing to do it. His voice has been huge. And he's one that guys are on the sideline and there's a water bottle on the sideline. Sam will jog over there and get it so those guys don't have to. I mean, he's a servant leader, and his voice will be huge. He'll be a huge voice and leader on this team next year, and I'm really glad that we have the opportunity to bring him back. We were hoping if it healed fast enough that he could use a couple of the last games to redshirt, but we've decided that he'll be available in the spring and then next year.
I know you want to be careful about your word choice. I'm just curious of what was going on. There were a few times it looked like there were issues. You were trying to call a timeout, and there was some kind of miscommunication.
You talking about me throwing my headset? I tried to hit him. I tried hard. I'm just kidding. As I was watching the clock, I mean, sometimes you in the first half when we're doing stuff to, like, we were trying to move 7 around and we were getting in different formations. I watched the clock as Coach V's calling the plays and stuff like that so that he doesn't have to. And I called one with 1 second one time, and one of the referees in the second half didn't hear me. And he's like, you got to be standing right next to me. And I was standing right next to him. So we got that communicated, but other than those, the other ones in the first half was the communication. One of them, he didn't see me, and I disagreed that he didn't see me. So I didn't actually throw it at him. I just tossed it.
Have you seen that much though, where they actually did go back and acknowledge that you did call timeout?
Yes, if the guys on the field, they don't worry about the sideline. So if they see that clock ticking down to 0, they're supposed to throw the flag. And then the guy on the sideline is supposed to correct it if you get a caught timeout. And occasionally, if you're late, they're good. You can't be so late that it's after. If you're running down there as it's ticking down, they'll correct it. He said I didn't do it. One of them was not timely because he said he didn't see me. So I mean, they're human. What else? Anything else?
Yeah, we haven't talked a lot about the D linemen. They made some plays, a couple of sacks. Guys got opportunities the way you're mixing up the defense, and I thought it was fantastic.
I thought Destin Gaynor and Gabe Lopez played really well. They did some things with their tackles. We gave them some freedom to make some inside moves and stuff, and we thought we could still contain the quarterback. Hunter Rapola, who we stood up and did some of those things with, and Avery Burt, they're big loads now and they can run, and they were able to get to win some one-on-ones, which we had struggled with. But Destin Gaynor has really, from game 1 to game 11, he's gotten better in increments that whole 1% better every day. And I thought Saturday he showed the twitch and the size and the speed and all those things that we want in our D linemen. Gabe has showed signs of that, and I thought he was really good on Saturday. Kyler Drake has gotten really beaten up, and he played about 30 plays on Saturday, which was probably perfect because the sack he had, he looked pretty twitchy and electric. When those guys get tired and worn out, they don't play as well, so the rotation really helped those guys up front. We had a good scheme, and they executed it, and we were able to get the quarterback uncomfortable. And when you're playing receivers like Fresno State has, Eric Brooks and those guys, Delana, they're very dynamic, and you can't cover them for more than 3.5 seconds because they're too good. And so we were able to execute that part of it. We're going to have to try and get to the quarterback this week. And if you give them the same thing 2 weeks in a row, guess what? They're going to practice. They're going to practice that stuff all week long. So you can't give them the same thing that worked. You gotta be creative. That it?
Anything else?
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll see you on Friday. Happy Thanksgiving. Go Lobos.